it back to 1992. Red Hot Chili Peppers' fifth studio album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, was released a year earlier in 1991, and it was a smash hit. It sold more than 7 million copies and made the band an international sensation. The members were handling it well except for guitarist John Frusciante. The newfound fame made him uncomfortable when he wasn't a fan. John was quoted saying this: "We're too popular. I don't need to be at this level of success. I would just be proud to be playing this music in clubs that you guys were doing 2 years ago." Conflict mainly struck when John got into heroin and a lot of drug use at the time. John would often argue with the bandmates and even sabotage performances, with the most infamous evidence being the SNL performance of Under the Bridge. Frusciante could be seen playing the wrong notes, screaming like a maniac during the chorus, and in the eyes of other members and the SNL cast and probably fans at the time, he seemed like an absolute jackass during that time. Around the Japanese leg of the Blood Sugar tour, John announced he was leaving the band. Due to the remaining show schedule, the band hired Eric Marshall to finish the tour shows. After the tour ended and returned to LA, the band was looking for new guitarists for months before finally landing on Dave Navarro. You might know him as the guitarist for the band Jane's Addiction and one of the hosts on Ink Master. After a few jam sessions, Dave agreed to join, and the Chili Peppers had the new member of the Red Hot family. In June 1994, the band entered the Sound Factory, a recording studio in LA, to begin recording. A few tracks were completed before some difficulties struck the production, both of them being related to singer Anthony Kiedis. One of them being that he had recently had difficulty singing due to going through a dental procedure, which had used a addictive sedative known as Valium. This incident caused Anthony to relapse and went back to using drugs. After that mishap, the band took a break from recording for the first show Dave would ever play with the Chili Peppers, Woodstock 1994. When production resumed, Navarro would often question the methods of the recording procedures for the band, often wondering on why a considerable amount of jams were needed with the conception of the album. Dave once said in an interview, "During the writing and recording of One Hot Minute, Anthony would go missing for weeks and we would just check into a hotel room. We wouldn't know where he was so many times. We didn't know if we had a singer, if he was alive, or what we were doing. We were held up for months and very inconvenient." But despite all the drug issues with Anthony, he was able to finish his vocals in January of 1995. Eventually, the rest of the recording was complete in February, so the album was recorded from June 1994 to February 1995. The album had many working titles during its production, such as The Sensitives, Turtlehead, The Good and Bad Moods of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Blight Album, and Blackfish Ferris Wheel, which got as far as to have a mock-up cover made by Mark Ryden. This art would soon become the One Hot Minute cover we all know and love. After many delays and time constraints, One Hot Minute was released on September 12, 1995, to positive reviews from critics. This album is often known as the black sheep of the band's discography, as Blood Sugar Sex Magic was his funk pop beauty and Californication was revolutionary for the band. And then in the middle was the sad and depressing album that is One Hot Minute. But the album has gotten more love over the years. Overall, there were 23 songs recorded during the One Hot Minute era for recording of the album, with 13 being released on the album itself. The track list consisted of Warped, Aeroplane, Deep Kick, My Friends, Coffee Shop, P, One Big Mob, Walkabout, Tearjerker, One Hot Minute, Falling into Grace, Shallow Be Thy Game, Transcending, and songs like Melancholy Mechanics, Let's Make Evil, Stretch You Out, and Bob were re-released on the digital deluxe edition of One Hot Minute, and most of these were just singles, B-sides. One of the newly known tracks from that era is Circle of the Noose. It was recorded around the One Hot Minute on March 16, 1998. The song leaked online on January 3, 2016. The One Hot Minute tour began just days after the album came out and went from 1995 to 1997. After the tour in late 97, the Chili Peppers returned home and parted ways until the beginning of 1998 when rehearsals started. Around that point, Anthony was struggling to remain clean from drugs, and Navarro had become dependent on them during that time, so it wasn't going to work out well. Even with the attempt to make a follow-up, which is where the song Circle of the Noose came from, there still wasn't enough heart and compassion in the band to keep going. This part is often rusty on who you ask. Anthony and Fleetwood fired Dave in 1998, but in many interviews, Navarro says that he quit the band. One Hot Minute is an album that doesn't get played live much anymore since the tour. John Frusciante never plays a song from the era since he doesn't like the album, even with him being good friends with Navarro and a fan of Jane's Addiction. P and Aeroplane were the only songs from One Hot Minute to be played in full during the Getaway tour, but they would tease My Friends, Let's Make Evil, and Walkabout during the tour for their 10th studio album, I'm With You. During production of One Hot Minute in 1994 and 1995, Chili Peppers decided to produce a documentary for the album. They had done this in the past with the documentary Funky Monks, which would show the production of Blood Sugar Sex Magik. This new one would be named Deep Kick, the name coming from the third track off the album. The main difference with this documentary than the one made for Blood Sugar is not only would include live footage, but also would include several fantasy-like sequences with the band members, much like the Led Zeppelin concert film. The song remains the same. Gavin Baldwin directed Deep Kick, and filming took place during the 100 Minute recording sessions and continued to the tours. Due to all the drugs and issues with Anthony, this has been the most troubled production of any Chili Peppers album to date, and it's speculated that there's a scene of Anthony shooting up in the film. Now, eventually, plans of the documentary being released were abandoned, and we still don't know if it was ever finished, or if a full cut exists, why it was never leaked online or been released to the public. So does this make it the end of Deep Kick? Not exactly. Now, a bunch of clips of the film have been surfacing online in both 2013 and 2021. The music video from My Friends is said to have used footage from the documentary for the music video. And back on January 29th, 2021, a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan on YouTube by the name of William McNally made a fan documentary of Deep Kick using interview and live footage from the time, while also being a form of what the official version would have looked like, possibly. And that is the story of 100 Minute and Deep Kick. Thanks for watching.
My